Well, hello, my little bunnies. I'm making it a new thing. Just now, I've decided I will address you in absurdities to display my enormous affection. This might actually be something you do, and that's why I'm being compelled to share it as an example. But it's like when you have a pet and you call it everything outside of their actual name. Do you know what I'm talking about? And you could maybe do that. And maybe that's why I'm thinking of it right now. Not that you guys are my pets. It's just today it's bunnies. Tomorrow it's probably chickens. The next day, I don't know. I'll probably be calling you some endearing fruit name like kumquats. You get the point. Anyway, welcome. This reading is a little bold, I think, right off the bat. I am getting advice that I was hesitant about. Immediately, I was like, oh. But I'm just going to say it no filter. All right. Right away, a job, a profession, something like that is coming through very strong. And not all here, but some here have very potent energy that they're taking into this reading with me. And this won't be for all, but it will be for a small amount of you, is there is declarative advice here to quit. And I say quit with an asterisk. So before you have a reaction, let me explain. Don't react to that until I tell you more about it. But that is the bold declarative advice, is to just quit a job that you have or a circumstance, walk away from it. If you've been going back and forth with something that makes you absolutely miserable and you feel like you're stuck in a job or a situation or a circumstance, I'm here to tell you to quit today, but with an asterisk. Because let me explain before we get too deep, okay? I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, I feel like. So pause before anything else and let me come back to that and give it the correct and proper attention that it needs first. Because I just want to say, not everybody here that this message is for is struggling with a job, a circumstance, something they're stuck in. And so I don't want to give up too much of the space here for it to filter people unnecessarily. There's just a very strong energy for that subset of today's collective. So instead of me diving deep with those who resonate with feeling stuck in a job, I'm going to get to that. Let me pause. Let me put a pin in it and say, I'm going to come back to you. I'll circle back. For the others here today who are not struggling with feeling stuck, this reading might be for you as well. So for everyone else, what this reading is about today is not about quitting a job you're stuck in, believe it or not. This is a call or an opportunity that is coming for a lot of you. And I think I need to talk about it in depth today because there's a common thread between you all. It's not just someone stuck in a job. There's what feels like a lot of you feeling like uncertain with how something will come through, but it feels long overdue, right? So you're feeling into something coming, but it's not here. And it feels long overdue, whatever it is for you. So this message is for those people who feel something is close and they're toggling between what looks like preparation and surrender. Like you've been in this space preparing for something. It's been in a nearby energetic space for a very long time and you're kind of just awaiting it. Some days look like full surrender for this thing and others look like you're preparing for it. You sense it coming, you know what it's going to take the shape of. And so you're kind of doing what you can. And so this message is going to talk about the unique shape that this opportunity or this call that you've been anticipating will come in, because it's not going to arrive in the way you think it is. And that is very clear from what I'm seeing here. It might be a shock to some of you. So it doesn't have to be in the shape of money, in the shape of being stuck in something, in the shape of a profession or a goal. It's just what looks like the common thread, getting you out of this rut or this thing that you've been anticipating, and it's revealing it to you. And so if that sounds like it meets you where you are, welcome to your reading, my little bunnies. I want to call this section of the read plot twist because it gets weird. I'm presented with interesting astrology placements that I do not get very often and that I don't think people know even exist. So for those of you who are new here, always check out my descriptions. I definitely explain things nuances, complications. Check it out. Anyway, for those who have stayed here with me and didn't leave, there's two real groups of people, I suppose. The first one is probably reactive to when I told them to quit, when they feel they can't or they feel stuck. And so they're kind of like eagerly awaiting me to address that. And I think that will come later. So don't get too impatient for those of you waiting for that. Really, I think the focus here is to blanket all of you because it wants to talk about the shape of an opportunity, the shape of a shift, not necessarily the details of your current reality. The thing or the call that this group of collective feels coming is going to take the shape of something that feels very unique. This call is not going to be a simple, here you go. Your world has changed forever now. It's not like what we're used to in a movie plot where you just wake up one day and everything's different because you get this like opportunity on a silver platter. I think some of you might feel, or maybe just unconsciously feel, it's going to come that way because it looks like you're so perceptive to energy that you're almost feeling the other side of the shift. You're feeling the contrast of where you are and where you're going. And it would make sense that you would think it would be a night and day shift because of what you can feel into with your future self. Your higher self is kind of like allowing you to feel into that future self. So the logical rationale here is, okay, I'm going to be so different, so it's just going to happen quickly. It's almost like you're feeling into the result. You're not feeling into the movement of how to get to the result. So I'm here to clarify the movement that you might not see as clearly because you're feeling so deeply into this result shift. The thing that changes your reality is not in the shape of an offer like you may anticipate or expect. And I think it's assumed it's an offer because we all know what change looks like, especially this type of change. It feels so different to you. And so you feel it must come from an external shift, an external, here you go kind of thing. I really just think we're conditioned, like movies that are dramatic. You know, this type of shift is only explained through an offer that kind of comes out of nowhere and bridges this large gap that you feel between where you're at and where you're going. And so in some ways, you're looking for an offer of some kind, whether you're aware of it or not. That is what you're looking for. You sense this deep gap is so real that nothing, the progress, the baby steps could never get you there. That's kind of like an unconscious thought that lives in you. And it makes sense. It really does. And so here's where the message is a plot twist. Here's where I'm like coming in as someone to disturb that unconscious belief is like what you think is coming as an offer will not be an offer. It will actually come in the shape of a request. This request is going to have long-term effects that the crazy offer that would come out of nowhere on a silver platter. It's just not going to be as loud. It's not going to be as noticeable at the beginning. And why that's important to you is not because I explain it to you. It's not because like you're going to miss out on this offer if I don't clarify what it looks like. It's more so that I explain the shape of what the offer will do to you is what it's looking like here. In other words, most people would overlook this type of offer and you won't, because what looks like here is people care about recognition and this offer won't give that. But let's not call it an offer. Let's call it a request. People care about the recognition of something and you don't. And so this type of request is easily ignored. It's easily ignored because it asks something of you instead of gives something. Okay. So most people would look at that and be like, nah, I'm good. And very few people would actually humor it. Okay. Because it's not what they're looking for. Most people are looking for an offer, even you on some unconscious level. And that has nothing to do with ego. It's just how large you feel into the energetic gap and how you're bridging that gap with your mind, with your rationale. So I'm not here to tell you that you'll pass this by, that this is that you need to look at it a specific way in order to have it. You will very much do this request, because that's just who you are as a person. And so I think this message is going to really address what happens when this request begins and you begin to see it for what it actually is, where it is a call, it is an opportunity, it is this beautiful thing, but it didn't come through flashy, it came through hidden. I almost see this message being a warning of some kind. Since you're not going to pass it by, you're not going to act out of ego. It's not me here telling you, hey, don't miss out on this thing coming. Here's what it looks like. Instead, this is me explaining what happens when you recognize the weight of this thing. What came to you in such a silly and seemingly unimportant way shifts in your mind out of nowhere. There's this weight that comes onto you. It goes from you casually helping, you assisting without ego, from the goodness of your heart, and then all of a sudden the impact of it comes to you and you're like, oh shit, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. And I didn't expect it. And so that's the warning of this message. I think it's going to talk about when it reveals itself to you, what that does to you and how you'll want to respond. For those still patiently waiting for answers about quitting a job, I see you. I feel you. That will be what looks like at the very end, I think. I just want to make sure you know I'm not forgetting. In fact, your energy here is pretty loud, so I don't think I could forget. It keeps nudging me, don't worry. But I think the priority of this message is collective, is all of you together before I get to the semantics of your particular situation and what you're dealing with. So it's just funny. I feel your impatience about it. And I just want to let you know and comfort you in the fact that I feel it and you're not forgotten. Anyway, back to the general group here. This call, this opportunity, this hidden thing that comes in the form of a request, not in something flashy and something dramatic. So even for those wanting employment or situational answers right now, a very clear opportunity awaits you. It comes to you. But the call, the opportunity, it doesn't feel like a win when you get it. It feels kind of like burdeny. It feels like obligation. There's no recognition with it. It's very much service oriented. So you could feel like it's just a simple task. And it's not flashy to you. You're not like thinking too hard about this. You're like, okay, I guess. But what I see here is you're just kind of used to giving, helping, being of assistance. These could be like typical roles that you found yourself in. So in this particular instance, you don't anticipate it to give back to you, to reveal itself in the way it does. You're just kind of like doing something out of the kindness of your heart and you're brushing it off. It's like another day in the life to you. But whatever this thing is, it meets you back 10 times stronger. Whatever you assisted with, it reveals itself in this like ridiculous way. Either it compounds over time or it does it extremely. It could vary. So while you're acting on autopilot and assisting like you normally do, there's like this, oh shit moment. What is this? I was waiting for something grand or dramatic, not this. You don't connect in your head that this is your call or calling. You connect in your head, this is what I've always done. This is what I do. It just makes me feel good and I move on. But it hits you quickly when you can connect these two in a seemingly unexpected way. And it might not make sense to you right now what I'm saying. Since I'm being so abstract, this might be like kind of a weird connection that I'm making for you. But I can't be really specific here because what it looks like it's so different to the different shapes of people I'm channeling for today. Like it depends on what you're asking for and what you're manifesting because you all have what looks like different desires. Some of you want literal employment. I still see you. Some of you want like a financial offer. Some of you want like deep love and connection that actually sees you and you feel it's real and doesn't ask anything of you. Some of you just want things to ease up or to be just really effortless. And so there's a lot of different shapes here. And so the way in which this offer comes, or I suppose this request comes, will be the result of what you're asking for. It's just why I have to say somewhat abstract here. The importance is that it comes in the shape of a request, not an offer. I feel like it's very much emphasized with this reading that you're going to do this. This is what you've always done. It just keeps being clarified to me. Like I'm not here explaining to you, hey, don't miss this big thing because it'll come through hidden. You're just going to do it. That's just who you are. It's just going to feel so insignificant to you. And so this contrast, this shift in you is going to be dramatic once you recognize and see it for what it is. The conflict here is what happens internally once you register that it's not as small as what you originally thought it was. There's a huge shift, like a weight that just kind of like lands on you. Like because you've been waiting in this space for it for so long and you've been feeling into it, once you can connect those dots, it feels so real. It feels so important. And that's where this message comes in, as I can't say this enough, is like there's very specific mental barriers here that come your way once this hidden offer is revealed. And I think that there's a warning in that. And I think I'm going to talk about it in another section. Sorry. All right, I had to take some time to really think about this mountain we're climbing here together, impromptu. So let's summarize. You feel an offer. You feel change coming deep in your bones. You can sense your future self. You can feel into that. You know it's long overdue. And you might unconsciously be thinking it's coming in an offer. It's coming in an external thing. You're not expecting the way that this comes. That's very clear. Regardless of expectations, the call or opportunity does not pass you by because you do not operate on ego. And while most people would dismiss or ignore this because it's request, it's asking something of people, you don't. You do what you've always done, which is act in the goodness of your heart, help people. You're very much not operating on ego. So we don't need to talk about, hey, don't let this pass you by, right? So it looks like there's just energy here of getting in your own head about it. And that's what this message is for, is like, it's not a big deal at first to you. You're used to this. This is like a common pattern. You help people, you do the request, you move on. And then suddenly it's just this big deal. So the message today is you're going to be faced with what looks like a challenge when this call comes, when you can see this call clearly, I should say. And that challenge is you'll want to be perfect for it. You'll want to prepare for it. You'll feel the weight so quickly that it's what you've been waiting for and anticipating, that you'll feel you need to rise up to it, rise up to the occasion, meet it in its like beautifulness. And the warning here is the call comes to you, it opens to you, it reveals itself to you, not to anyone else, because you were imperfect enough at the beginning. You were fully yourself. You were not overthinking it. You acted in non-ego and in just pure service to this request. You weren't perfect. You weren't thinking too hard about it. You just did what naturally comes to you, which is like you were acting from your truest self. And the challenge is you will be influenced by the weight of what you feel this perfect opportunity is when it reveals itself to you. When it matches your perfectness, your imperfect perfectness, you will see it and something will like shift into you where you feel you need to prepare more adequately. And so the message here is that no preparation is needed for this call. You do not need to become this better version of yourself to be worth it, to have it. You don't need to do anything different. The fact that it feels so big to you and finds you is just reflecting your energy back to you. It's showing you the magnetism that you have within yourself when you act imperfectly, when you act from just your truest self without overthinking it. And so in other words, this is something that finds you because you were fully leaning into the casualness of your being, of your truest self. Like you did not overthink it, you just did. And that's exactly why it opens up to you in the first place. As you are in this like genuine energy. And your challenge is to fight the instincts of feeling like you need to become perfect. That's not the energy of this large calling. The call wants you exactly as you are without preparation, without overthinking. It finds you because you were not prepared. It finds you because you were not overthinking and you just acted in this like way to be of service to someone else. You acted in this way to answer a call, but a call that's hidden, if that makes sense, a call that others wouldn't answer. And so I hope that makes sense. I'm going to shift really quickly into those asking for answers about employment, the small subset of powerful energy here today. I know I left you for last, but just know that you're still very important to me. This is heavy. You may have a lot of reasonings you're staying in the situation, it looks like. I see them. They are here. They are loud. But I want to softly and gently say, you are required a lot of space for your next steps. And that space cannot come when you're being drained by something like this, when it's taking up your energy. And so this job, this situation, this circumstance, whatever it is that you feel you're trapped in, as gently as I can put it, is the entrapment comes from the way you feel about it, not the actual situation itself. For example, and I hate to give examples to something like this, but I have to. If you keep saying, I need money, I don't have any other options, whatever it is that's so strong that you are going to give to me as the reasons, the details, then what you're doing by giving that defense to me is you're closing your reality to alternative ways that could make it work. It's almost as if you're proclaiming your reality and you're making it true with your strong emotions. Emotions are like the highest form of manifestation since you can feel into the reality. So what am I saying? Am I saying to quit and live on the streets and to be poor? No, I'm not saying, and that's why I had to put a little asterisk by this. Like it says quit your job, but like with an asterisk. It's more so pointing at your emotional defensiveness to defend why you must stay stuck, I think, than the actual semantics of the situation itself. There's something about needing the space of other options to just simply exist. And this thing you're trapped in is basically stopping that space from being able to coexist, to be able to think of alternative ways, for example, to make money. And so this could be like when you are so tired from it, like here's a really good example. You're so tired from a job that drains you that you can't even adequately apply to other jobs. That's the energy here, is like the fear of leaving that first job without a backup plan will lead to consequences, but it's actually needed to be able to have the energy to apply in the first place. Does that make sense? You cannot predict whether or not that space leads to opportunities. It's just the fear of being in that gray space, but that's a step that's needed. Now, it's not precisely that example, but I hope that you hear what I'm saying in the sense where like the energy cannot exist without the space for it. And so it's like saying without that step, you cannot have the energy, the time, the space to do what you're supposed to do to make that change. The emotions of being scared or defending are not making it possible to find that space, are not making it possible to breathe long enough to be able to pivot or change. It's not really saying definitively do this thing, although it did say quit at the beginning. It's more so saying that when I said that, the reactions, the emotions that came through were important because it's stopping something. It's stopping this space from existing. That's what this message wanted you to pay attention to, is like when I said that declarative thing and you had all these excuses in your head, that's what wanted attention today. That's what this message was like pointing at for you, is like the emotions are stopping the solution. The excuses are stopping the solution because the solution already exists within you. It's just a matter of opening your mind past those defenses, past that emotion. So this is my new outro. Coming out of nowhere, coming out of left field. I just want to say I love you guys more than actual words could ever express. Cheers, friends.